being a millennial, there wasn't enough representation. Like, that's point blank. And beyond that, like before that, the biggest stars I could think of was Lucy Liu, Brenda Song, Bruce Lee, and Jackie Chan. Quiet on set, settle, action. Ew. Okay. Settle, quiet on set, Luna. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Jax and I'm here to talk to you today about a very important topic, and it is why Asian representation in the media is so important. I've got my handy dandy ancient HP. Yeah, and I'm just gonna go through my notes and we'll just talk and rant and just be candid. This video was sprung up from the month that we're in of May 2020, Asian Pacific American Heritage. Luna, please. It brought up so much topics and conversations that I want to have on a larger scale, and so here I am. So let's freaking talk about it. Being a millennial, there wasn't enough representation. Like, that's point blank. And beyond that, like before that, yeah, like America is a melting pot, and the TV, the movies, they didn't represent that. And I want to bring awareness to that and advocate for that. I think about it all the time. It has shaped, ooh. But yeah, I think about this topic a lot, like pretty much every day. It's what drives me and motivates me to be successful in the field that I'm pursuing. So let's dive into it. The biggest elephant in the room is that Asians are the least represented race in the media. Why is that important? Because the media is honestly, to me, the most powerful, influential medium there is to shape how humans perceive one another, how humans perceive the world around them. It creates expectations. We soak up what we see in the media, and then, you know, we subconsciously make assumptions of social roles and groups of people. If we keep seeing the same character, which is, all right, come on, here's a few seconds for you to name some. Yeah, so if I've named something that you just stated, click that like button. So we're seeing Kung Fu Master, the math nerd, the computer scientist, the friend who is the sidekick who's there to support the Caucasian person's journey, the foreigner who doesn't understand English, Harvard students, doctors, nurses, and surgeons, characters with lack of depth, lack of personality, and that was mostly it. That's mostly it that I have seen. Some would say, you know, not all of them are negative, so what's wrong with that? That we're seeing Asians as the smart Harvard student, or the doctor, or the neurosurgeon, or what have you. But that just feeds into the idea that we're this model minority, and it's not cool. Like, this makes me emotional, yo. But yeah, if you want me to make a video on what the model minority is and what my thoughts are on that, comment below, let me know, and I got you, because that's just a whole other Pandora's box. So the media creates schemas, and what a schema is a way of categorizing behaviors or objects and the relationships among them. So an example of a schema would be like a cop. If you see someone who has a hat, sunglasses, maybe a donut and coffee in hand, like that's bleeding into a stereotype as well. Another example of a schema is honestly just any Halloween costume. The waiter, the maid with the little, you know, dusty thing, or back to the waiter with like a little platter with ketchup, or whatever. The problem with seeing the repeated character of Kung Fu Master, math nerd, etc. is that it's creating a schema. Hold for airplane. And we back, and we back, and we back. So the problem with seeing Asians in these repeated roles is that it narrows our view of what we think Asians are. It's almost like a seed of racism, because now you're stereotyping and making assumptions on a whole race of people. So we automatically won't see or view Asians as a leading person, a romantic lead, or the strong one, the athletic one. Anyone has the possibility to be any anything that they want. It saddens me to see that the industry has painted this picture, and it's unfair. And so I'm gonna dive a little deeper into this. It also creates this idea that Asians aren't American just because of the way we look. I mean, to go on a little tangent about it, like it's if you're Asian, or if any of your friends are Asian, I'm sure one of them has experienced, like at their workplace, someone approach you, a stranger, and they talk a little slower. They are like thinking that you're foreign when you're not. And then honestly, I've told this story before that it makes me just want to go like twofold into my white voice and to just say, yes, sir. Yeah, I can definitely get that for you. All right, well, have a wonderful day. Absolutely. You know, like I just like click into this like overly whitewashed version of myself to prove and to show some stranger that I'm not foreign. You don't have to talk to me like that. Yeah, it's crazy. I've had my fair shares of, where are you from? Oh yeah, from like, you know, Orange County. But where are you from? Where were you born? I was born in Los Angeles, actually, yeah. California, you know? Okay, no, but like, where are you, like, where's your family from? My family's from the Philippines. So then they're like, oh my gosh, you look like, you know, I thought you were like Korean or Japanese. No, I'm not. And you know, and I don't have I digress. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I'm just gonna dive back into the film aspect. In the media, there's this thing called Yellowface. It's basically when the media or industry uses makeup and prosthetics on a Caucasian person to make them appear Asian. It's a different version of blackface. It's so wrong. It's so wrong on every level. Just cut it out, okay? I'm gonna get heated. The media has created some stereotypes about Asian women. Some examples of that is you see the dragon lady, who would be like an overly sexualized Asian fetish, you know, woman extraordinaire, right? Or like a geisha or what have you. And then there is the tiger mom, the overstrict mom who won't let their kids go on sleepovers and are so obsessed with them to fulfill their dream of becoming this prodigy with, you know, the violin or the piano. And then there is also the Asian prodigy child that is just, you know, so smart coming out of the womb and is just like, hallelujah, hallelujah. Right? Another term that goes hand in hand with Yellowface is whitewashing. And what whitewashing is taking a character who is supposed to be of Asian descent and casting a Caucasian person. Here's a little list of examples of Asian roles that were given to Caucasian people. Like, we can't, it's crazy, they're not even letting us play our own people. Like,
wait a damn minute.
Why not just cast an Asian person for that Asian descent character? What a concept. I don't know if I'm gonna do a voiceover, or just pop it up on the sides of me of these examples. 1937's project The Good Earth stars Louise Rayner as Olan. In 2015, the project Aloha, starring Emma Stone playing the character Allison Ng, who's supposed to be half Asian and supposed to portray the rich culture in the Polynesian island. 2016's Marvel's Doctor Strange, Tilda Swinton played a Tibetan monk. And this is a really controversial one. In 2017's project Ghost in the Shell, Scarlett Johansson stars as Motoko Kusanagi. I apologize if I butcher that. Ghost in the Shell is actually distinctly a Japanese story. Next is 2018 Annihilation. Natalie Portman plays as Lena. But this one flew a little bit more under the radar than Ghost in the Shell because originally the story that Annihilation is based off of, the character of Lena is of Asian descent. And also the co-star also is of Native American descent, but they ended up casting 2 Caucasian women. So there was controversy over it. I read into it, and the director was saying that they casted with what they saw. It wasn't intentional. People who did their research know that it was of Asian descent. It's really awesome that we are heading towards the right direction. We are seeing more representation, and I'm not here to just focus on the negatives. I'm here to uplift and bring attention. That's the only way we're gonna move forward is if we acknowledge and be knowledgeable so that we can move forward. A very interesting one that is very recent is 2016 Suicide Squad. I love the movie, I really do. I was excited to see an Asian character in there who played Kitana. It was interesting because I felt I had some cognitive dissonance because her character only spoke Japanese. She was very distant from the rest of the group. It's also instilling that in our minds. And this is a fictional story, so you can create anything you want. Kind of like Star Wars, how it was always a Caucasian lead and now that's changing and that's awesome. But yeah, like it was a different tone and they kind of didn't give her as much depth as the other characters. They didn't really, I believe that there wasn't as much of an effort to make her as likable compared to Harley Quinn and the other characters, honestly. So there was a segment called Take Back on NBC created by Cat Sandoval. She interviewed a lot of people and asked, name a famous Asian American male. And everyone said,
oh god,
Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan. And that's cool, but Bruce Lee has passed, it's been since the 70s, and Jackie Chan isn't Asian American, but I love him, he's my dad. Hey, Editing Jax here, and I forgot to mention why I brought this interview up, and it's to show the literal lack of representation. When people were asked this question, they can only think of 2 Asian actors. One has passed 3 decades ago, and the other is an Asian American. So the proof is in the pudding. So the stereotypes that are created of men are that they're the kung fu master, they're good at math, good at computers, small genitalia, not manly enough. It's not cool. It's not cool. I said it twice, so you know I meant it. And to the side of me here is a graph, source NBC News, Cat Sandoval. I'll read along with you. At the top, Asian men are dissatisfied with their representation in the media. In the blue, it says Asian men are underrepresented in the media. They strongly agree, almost 80%. And the red bar, Asian men are depicted as desexualized characters in the media. Almost 60% agree. This graph leads into my next point, which is related into the topic of Asian men being desexualized in the media. I researched into it too with the small genitalia. It's a thing, right? That people think, but it's not truly a thing. It's really based on the individual, on the size, on the proportion of their body. It doesn't mean because someone is an Asian man that they're gonna have small genitalia. It's not. And and just a quick little side note, it's like, put yourself in their shoes. Like, I know I'm an Asian woman, I'm an Asian American woman, but if I was an Asian American man or just Asian man in general, that's not cool. Like, I can't fully understand, but I can have empathy. And that's what I'm trying to share. Let's grow some empathy, people. Let's do it. Back then, in the 1920s, there was this thing called, this term, yellow peril, and it was just these media articles that were just kind of, no, it wasn't kind of, it was shaping Asian men to be taking the American women away and, just like making them out to be a villainous character. And what? Some of the research that I've done and articles have shown that people are agreeing to believe that those were made to keep Asian men in their place. It's just disgusting. Some examples of whitewashing, aka giving Asian descent roles to Caucasian people, are 1961 Breakfast at Tiffany's starring Mickey Rooney as Mr. Yunioshi, 2003's The Last Samurai starring Tom Cruise, 2016's The Great Wall starring Matt Damon. Yes, we're heading in the right direction, starring Asian people as their roles, but here's when that was a little bit, you know, raised some controversy in my own mind. So let me know if you watched it. Altered Carbon. If you haven't, spoiler alert, 2018's Altered Carbon on Netflix stars Will Yun Lee, who plays Takeshi Kovacs. And I thought this character was so dope, and I love this show. The whole concept of Altered Carbon is that you can put life form into a stack, which would be like this little, honestly, like think of it like a Game Boy game. That was like literally the size. Anywho, that just goes into the back of your neck, and it was pretty much like a download of your consciousness. In the beginning, it was the Asian actor playing Takeshi Kovacs, and then soon after the beginning, a Swedish American character takes over, and his name is Joel Kinnaman, plays as Takeshi Kovacs. So I was like, oh, I was missing seeing, you know, my Asian representative, and he went away. But I understood the story that they were going for. But it just goes to show, like, you couldn't have the Asian role being him the whole time. I understand it was the way that the story was molded. So speaking as a past me, as the little Asian girl living in Southern California, a millennial, growing up having very little to none representation, it did a number, and it does a number to the other kids that have grown up in the past generations. It's harmful because then we start idolizing people who don't look like us, which is fine, you know, like that's totally fine. But I think you guys know where I'm getting with this, like the elephant in the room. Being little, I remember the most gorgeous women in the magazines were Megan Fox and Scarlett Johansson, and trust me, they're beautiful, gorgeous women, but the only person that I really had to look up to was Brenda Song and Lucy Liu. But I mostly, you know, related with Brenda Song, and as a kid, a lot of people would tell me, you look just like Brenda Song, yay me, you know, and I would do that like as a kid, just joking around, and I took it because she is beautiful. But it really, again, it narrows the mindset. It's harmful because other Asian Americans, they can start growing resentment. I've heard a lot of stories about Asian Americans living in places where they were like the only Asian kid there, which that's also my story. So there's a lot of similarities. They're scared to open their lunchbox because they don't want to get judged or made fun of because of the different kind of food. It wasn't just a PB&J. It was, you know, adobo or something. Or even the narrative of, oh, like I don't date other Asians. And it's sad. How were you brought up through the media, through watching, and men weren't shown as the masculine, handsome heartthrob? Like they weren't. It's harmful because you grow up with hearing things like, you're attractive for an Asian. I don't usually go for Asians, but you're my favorite Asian. You're a cool Asian. But yeah, those are literally all things that I've heard, and it just boggles my mind that I accepted it. Like as a kid, you want to fit in so hard, so you're gonna take whatever you can get. It saddens me because it not only does this narrative shape the mind of people who aren't Asian American, but it also shapes the mind of Asian American versus other Asian Americans. Some Asian Americans even have that stereotyped assumption of other Asian people that are just like you. Like for instance, if someone looked less Asian, or maybe someone who was mixed, and then they see someone who is only Korean or Japanese, and they think, oh, they're more Asian, so they don't expect that they're gonna talk exactly the way that they talk back to them. Since the media has done Yellowface and whitewash projects and just not even giving Asians the roles and the representation that we had deserved the opportunity for, it harms the minds of growing young Asian American kids. They try not to look Asian. They want to conform with what America's societal views of beauty is. You'll see Asian people getting colored contacts, dyeing their hair, getting plastic surgery to appear more Asian, using Snapchat filters that point your nose more. It's a sensitive topic, and not a lot of people want to talk about it. Not a lot of other Asian Americans want to acknowledge that that's something that they've been through. It's something that I've been through. It's a journey to having self-love, self-acceptance of who you are and your race, your ethnicity, mixed with your nationality, being American, and growing up with that disconnect from where your people have been through and your ancestors, and trying to hold it all together while at the same time growing up here with what we see and what's around us and what we are learning subconsciously through the media, through even as kids and cartoons, you know, the Disney characters. How many, I mean, prior to even 2005, how many Asian princesses were there versus the plethora of Caucasian princesses, which these are fictional characters. So I don't understand. But good news, the narrative is changing and I'm so proud. So even just leading back, here are some examples from the past, and I'll gradually, you know, move up to our current situation. Starting with 1993's The Joy Luck Club, starring Kyu Chin, which was nominated for 1 Oscar. Fun fact, it was also starring Ming Na Wen, who was the voiceover for Mulan in 1998. We love you, we love her. Next is 2004, Harold and Kumar, starring John Cho and Kal Penn. 2010 through 2013, the show Nikita, starring Maggie Q. 2015, Master of None, Aziz Ansari. 2015 and ongoing, Fresh Off the Boat, starring Randall Park and Constance Wu. 2015 through 2018's series Quantico, starring Priyanka Chopra. 2018's film Crazy Rich Asians, starring Constance Wu and Henry Golding. Side note, John M. Chu, director of Crazy Rich Asians, quotes, "I want to make Crazy Rich Asians the example of what a movie like this can really be, so that others can follow and we can open a gate for other Asian stories." I love that. That's awesome. We love you. 2018's film Searching, starring John Cho. 2018's film To All the Boys I've Loved, starring Lana Condor. 2019's film Always Be My Maybe, starring Ali Wong and Randall Park. 2018 through 2020, the series Killing Eve, starring Sandra Oh. 2019's The Farewell, starring Awkwafina, which won one Golden Globe. And lastly, 2019's film Parasite, starring Key Tate, and that film won 4 Oscars. Let's go! I am so stoked. I'm so stoked for the future. It's pretty crazy. In 2016, there was this hashtag going around, hashtag starringjohncho, and it was a movement where people started photoshopping John Cho into movie posters of different genres like action, superhero, sci-fi, romance, comedy, etc. And people did this to bring awareness to the lack of Asian representation in Hollywood and the movie industry. And I was fooled by it, actually. I thought there was really gonna be an Asian James Bond, but that'd be cool. And that movement was so dope. And it leads me to my next segment, which is what I want to leave you with, is what we can do as an audience to help support our communities. We can support our friends and our families, and even if that's not where we come from or our ethnicity, but to speak for all. The first step is to recognize and acknowledge. Acknowledge when you see whitewashing. Acknowledge when you see Yellowface. After you've recognized and acknowledged it, educate others. So an example, if you're coming out of the movie theater and you just watched Suicide Squad and you notice what I noticed about the role of Kitana, you know, just bring it up in conversation. Let them know, let them be aware, and they can start on this process of acknowledging, unblinding themselves, taking off that filter and those assumptions and seeing it and pointing it out, calling it out. Another way to help as an audience is to support these films that are breaking the mold and breaking those stereotypes, like going to the theater to watch Crazy Rich Asians, which, although I understand we're in this health crisis right now, so we'll see what that looks like in the future, but I don't know, make steps to not illegally cast those movies, but to buy and give them the credit that they deserve. Buy the movie to watch it for $2.99. Or on Netflix, it's free to give To All the Boys I've Loved a thumbs up. It's really as simple as that. Or even going on Rotten Tomatoes and putting in a rating and supporting the films in that way. Encouraging others to watch those films, to brighten their horizons, And you know, and I'm not here trying to say, oh, shove down Asian American cast films in people's mouths. No, if you genuinely loved and enjoyed that movie, if you follow me on Instagram or if you follow me on like any social media platform, you know I be supporting. supporting. Just like woo woo representation, 10 out of 10. Check it out, watch it. It's so worthwhile, because that way it's not like you're being overbearing or aggressive about it, but you're just saying, hey, watch it, and that will subconsciously broaden someone's mind and perception. Or simply speak out. We've got Twitter, we've got Instagram or whatever to just directly go to the source of whitewashed projects. For example, in 2017, English Ed Screen was cast as 2019's reboot of Hellboy to play Ben Daimio, a Japanese American. Yo, we were not having it. We were not having it. We showed up, we showed out, we respectfully demanded that was wrong and that we wanted to see an Asian American play the Japanese American role. It made an impact. Complaints of whitewashing on social media has impacted Ed Screen so much that he voluntarily dropped out of the role so that it could be appropriately casted. And 1 month later, Korean American actor Daniel Dae Kim was casted as Hellboy. So that is so awesome to leave you with a nugget of hope. We're seeing results and it's showing up and showing out, advocating and not conforming, not just accepting the way that they are. Let's be curious. Let's fight for a better future. Going back to the main point, Asian representation is so important. And I really appreciate you for watching. And yeah, I'd love for you to share this video with your friends and family, and I'll link below other videos that inspired me. I'm really humbled. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I had so much fun doing the research and making this video for you to make it easy to have all these sources in one little compact, cute little video for you to watch and share with your friends. Subscribe if you want to see more of me, and I'm excited for this journey. Okay, I don't know how to end this video. Oh, Luna, she's awake. This is how we're gonna end the video. 1, 2, and 3. Alrighty, we love you. We care for you. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your energy, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye. Oh, but yeah. Enjoy your life. No. Okay, I lost you there. It cut off because I was talking too much. Oh, wait, she's not a man. I'm sorry. Ooh, I got that in the wrong. I gotta edit that. That is in the wrong category.
Down.
She scrambled away. It worked.
Scramble away. Quiet for mom to film a YouTube video. Hey. All right.
And we're back. So, films that are, oh, I'm getting a call. Oh, I gotta take this. Wow. But seriously, thanks so much for watching this video. If you made it to this point, you a real one. And if you want to see more of me and more videos like this, like and subscribe, comment below, whatever, build your community, share your, if you've got a link to a video that you want to share that's like, related to this, please drop it below. I'd love to watch it. And yeah, so say bye. Bye.